Siona God, hello all. Oshisahiya, good evening, and Wado, thank you for watching. This is day 38 of Transformation of America, the True Life Story of a CIA Mind Control Slave by Kathy O'Brien with Mark Phillips. And we're in chapter 13 of Kathy's story, and we're working our way through. At the end of the second hole, Ford said, "I'd like to have a word with you." He took me over to some trees of the fairway and turned me with his arms crossed over his bulging chest, raised himself up taller, and bore his shark-like eyes to me. "Lend me your ear." I had the baby's ear shell with me as ordered, took it out of my pocket and handed it to Ford. He began talking as though I were a machine, and he was dictating a message. "Take this message to Dick Cheney, Pentagon. The mob has agreed to transfer the $2.3 million, and in brackets it says porn profits, to the Bank of Credit and Commerce International. Let's pull our money now and we'll be swimming in it. This operation has been an enterprising success. Let's keep it that way. Cease agreement with Panama. All Mexican channels are implemented, in brackets, cocaine and heroin. Hail to the chief." He took a step away and added, "And you," in brackets, he poked my chest like Cheney. "Take care of my friend Dick." Let me see. Here, he handed me the baby's ear. "For meanness," he added, "over and out," and did the sign of the, in parentheses, satanic horns at my eyes, which deepened my trance significantly since I had been conditioned so heavily to this by Bird. After he hit the golf ball, he asked, "How is my friend Alan Simpson these days?" "Very well, sir," I noticed. He bristled as he missed another shot. His temper was rising. When he wanted to add more to his message, he took out his frustration on me. "Give me that effing shell." He wiggled his fingers at me. That wasn't the passphrase, and I did not trigger. He grew louder and more agitated. "Where's that baby's ear?" I still cannot respond. "Lend me your god dang ear." And instead of dang. He roared at me. "Close enough." "Yes, sir," I responded meekly as I dropped it in his hand. He proceeded, "Tell Simpson to take care of my friend Dick Thornborough. Get back to me on it." He returned the ear. We could see my father waiting at the next hole, and Ford said he might bean him one. With his next stroke, he swung but missed my father. When we met up with my father at the third hole, Ford set up his ball first, of course, and waving the club, club at me, said, "Get out of here before I get teed off." My father pointed the way with a thumb over his shoulder and let out a shrill whistle. My brother Mike walked me through the bushes and back to my father's house. My sister Kelly Jo was waiting tearfully for my return. She was MP'd and horrified of Ford. She and my little sister Kimmy and I had all been forced to sexually gratify Ford just prior to his special ordered porn film titled Three Little Kittens, whereby his semen was filmed anonymously. I was aware that Ford had initiated both of my sisters the way he had me in Cedar Springs, and they too dreaded his brutal and degrading sexuality. I hurried past my sister to make sure my daughter Kelly was okay. Cheney's threat to her life was ringing loud in my ear. I did not see the baby's ear shell again until Kelly and I arrived in Bradenton, Bradenton Beach, Florida. I drove the motor home into Florida with Houston and Kelly along and dropped Houston off at the Tampa airport. So he did not have a role in Operation Shell Game. He had business at Boys Town in Omaha, Nebraska, where the wayward boys were being traumatized and sexually abused in accordance with a Catholic involvement in Project Monarch. Survivor Paul Bonacci, Bonacci, of the infamous Franklin cover-up case, has named Alex Houston as one of his abusers there in Boys Town. Houston often went to Boys Town or other similar vacation resorts. While I was on covert government business, Kelly and I drove on to Bradenton, where we checked into a participating campground on the bay across from MacDill, MacDill Air Force Base. It too was closed for the season. The recreation room of the campground was actually a harmonics programming operation, and the offices were filled with elaborate computers consistent with high-level CIA operations. The day Kelly and I met Senator Simpson, I had been instructed by campground workers to drive to nearby Santa Maria Island, where we were to collect unusual shells. Kelly and I were on the wild side of the island, hunting sand dollars because they had birds in them. As we walked through the shallow water, Kelly scared up a stingray, which sent us screaming for shore. Simpson was on the beach laughing, looking out of place in his Cagney hat and gray suit with legs rolled up and polished shoes in hand. He seemed familiar with the beach. When we reached the shore, he struck up a conversation about shells. It wasn't until he told us about baby's ear shell and opened his wallet to retrieve it that I triggered and knew who he was. As he took it out, he also flashed his ID, signaling us to go with him. Considering Kelly, he had slipped a shell into the sand for her to find that looked like an eye in a spiral. He used this as a hypnotic induction to control her, comparing it to Bush's eye in the sky. Simpson showed me the shell in his hand and began, you alone will take the shuttle boat to your Princess Cruise. It will leave the dock from your own backyard. In parentheses, it says Oz at 7:30 p.m. Dress appropriately. In brackets, it says Houston had ensured the proper attire had been packed. You will be escorted to the conference room and on into the top deck. You will see as you approach the ship. In brackets, it says Noriega's yacht. The top deck is surrounded in black mirrors. Look deep into the mirrors. That is where you will be and where I will be when next we meet. We walked a little further up the beach to where the motorhome was parked, and referring to the baby's ear, Simpson said, they're very rare indeed. This one is the right ear. You must go to the other side of the island, out long boat key, to find its match. The colonel, in parentheses, Aquino, has the baby's left ear and will meet you at the pier at 4 p.m. Stop at the little market on the corner and call. Then it's just down the street a little ways. I followed instructions robotically. Kelly and I watched from the pier as 4 big armed, in parentheses, with machine guns, emotionless, in parentheses, programmed question mark, guards scanned the area as Aquino emerged from a car. Kelly said, Mom, let's go. I remembered Cheney's threat and assured her I would protect her, though I would not comprehend from what. When Aquino approached with 2 Dobermans on leashes, I told him Simpson had sent me there looking for the left baby's ear. He opened his hand to reveal all that was left, the baby's ear. The dogs had devoured and consumed the rest of the baby. It was bloody, ragged, and bluish rather than pink. Whether or not this was an actual baby's ear, the impact was the same. I put Callie further behind me, away from the dogs. I stood traumatized and entranced, ready for command. Aquino instructed me in full detail on the night's activities, and that I was to leave Callie with campground personnel until my return. That evening, I was taken to Noriega's yacht in the bay via a small motorboat. I triggered and tranced further as I approached the familiar black mirrored yacht according to plan. I was helped on the back of the yacht by Panamanian palace guards who kept me there at gunpoint until I was cleared and my baby's ear pass key accepted. I was escorted past the Air Force Base officials, their wives, drug people, and the vast amounts of cocaine laid out for them. I recognized several of the guests, including Oliver North, North, and Puerto Rican drug lord Jose Busto, Busto. I was led up the stairs to the conference room where Aquino, Noriega, and Simpson were waiting. Simpson! I realized I must be on the other side of the black mirror, and I gazed out into the darkness. Simpson spoke softly. You're on the other side of the black mirror now, in brackets, NASA programming, peering through the blackness out to sea of black, riding on a sea of black, drifting from the winds. Deep into the blackness, drifting through the sands of time, black sands yielding shells such as this baby's ear. He pressed it into my hand, signaling it was time for me to speak. I addressed Noriega. If you please, sir, I have a message from the President of the United States. The successes we have enjoyed in our shared endeavors are now history in the making, whose course cannot be altered regardless of the imminent lifting of the veil by well-intentioned do-gooders. As this veil is lifted, it may shed light on you. So you must have your house in order, as does Ollie North, Ollie, and then North. And cease any and all detectable activity. I will do my best to keep you under shield and out of view if you comply with these orders and cease all detectable activity at once. Noriega reacted as anticipated, obviously insulted by the message. In the ensuing moments of chaos, Aquino hypnotically waved his hands in front of Noriega and dramatically spread out his satanic black cape, in parentheses, warned for impact on Noriega's suspicions, which appeared to fill the room. Noriega all but bowed to him as Aquino's control over him was complete. Aquino's manner was sideshow style rather than the usual somber tones used at the military bases for hands-on demonstrations. General, for your entertainment and in respect and appreciation of your successful enterprising CONTRA-BUTION, the chief has sent his presidential model to demonstrate the latest technology and mind control advancements. With the flip of a switch, this pigeon becomes a kitten. In brackets, I began undressing. Quite a different animal. Because of Noriega's superstitious beliefs, the whole idea of switching personalities apparently frightened him. I know Noriega believed wholeheartedly in mind control, but could not grasp the concept of multiple personalities, in parentheses, which I now believe he perceived as demonic possession. Therefore, he did not adhere to the idea of one slave being trained for both business and pleasure. Aquino, from whom Noriega already perceived as a devil working for Reagan, was manipulating his beliefs masterfully. The impact of this demonstration and operation would prove to be psychological warfare of the highest order. So I'm going to end it there, and I'm not going to do quotes anymore. Clearly, when people are speaking, it's quotations. It's just that it slows me down in saying that. Anyway, don't go hang kiki, we need to go shanaska until we meet again, love you, mean it, and it just keeps getting worse from here. So bear with me.